You're now listening to the Blastcast, and I'm your host, just some guy named Jay. And in this installment of the podcast, we have two guests. We have Al Cohen and Eve Adams of ACM Records. ACM Records is a large independent record label that has lots of artists signed to their label from all genres of music, hip-hop, rap, rock, R&B, salsa, all types of artists. And basically in this interview, Al Cohen and Eve Adams talk about the history of the record label. They give good information to artists and kind of spread knowledge, talk about how they operate things and what's going on with ACM Records right now. And I'm also going to put the links to ACM Records in the information box below so you can check out the label, check out the website, check out the blog, and, check out the artists. Also, if you're interested in hearing some of these artists, I'm going to put some of the iTunes and eMusic links down here in the information box as well so you can check them out. They have lots of talented artists. ACM Records, they don't put out any crap. I'm going to let you know that, off top. And this is definitely a good interview, whether you're an artist that's coming up and you just want some, general information on, what you should do as an artist. Or, if you're just a fan of the artist on ACM Records, you just kind of want to, hear about what's going on and hear about some of the new releases, definitely listen to this interview, Also, if you're an artist and you're looking for more internet marketing and promotions and email blasts, to strengthen your brand and get your name out there to a broader audience, you should definitely reach out to us at thegiantblast@aol.com. We could definitely give you some more information on that. That's TheGiantBlast@AOL.com. I already know you guys know how to read, and I'm going to put the information down there anyway, but just want to let you know. And also, too, I want to give you a kind of a warning. This interview was done over the phone, and, the quality is not as good as it could be, but, definitely you can definitely hear what what everyone's saying. But during the first, somewhere in the first part of the interview, it kind of cuts out a little bit, some certain words and certain things, and it's repeated. So I just kind of want to give you a warning. But either way, the information is there, and it's definitely a great interview for you all to listen to. Well, enough about me and enough about this introduction. Let's just get into this interview. All right, I have Al Cohen and Eve Adams with ACM Records. How you doing?
Good, wonderful. How are you, Jay?
Oh, just hanging in there.
Good. Giant Blast is giant as ever?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, definitely. So first I want to start off by asking, when did you first start ACM Records, and what inspired you to want to start a record label?
I'll defer that to Al. Go ahead, Al. Yeah, the label, actually, it was a production company first.
Hey, Al. Hey, could you maybe get a little closer or something? I'm having a hard time hearing it.
Yeah, I'm moving over.
All right.
Yeah, how's that? Is that any better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay, good. It started as AC Music Productions back in the mid-'80s. And then it turned into ACM Records in 1990.
All right.
And the idea was that we were doing a lot of production. We were doing all different types of stuff, from commercials to hip-hop, early hip-hop. We were working with different artists at the time from all the labels in New York City. A lot of the indie labels in New York City, which included Sleeping Bag Records, Tuff City, TUFF City, Select Records, those type of independent labels, working with such artists as Mantronics, Just Ice, Nice and Smooth, all those type of the founders of hip-hop.
Ah.
And then we turned into ACM Records in the early 90s, around 1990. And we put out our first records, which was one of mine, which was Alloyd, ALOID. And we put out Eve's record, which was Ivlene, IVELENE. So we started by putting out our own records at a, you know, independent level. And that's how it really went from a production company, AC Music Productions, to ACM Records.
Ah, okay. Now who are some of the first artists that you all signed?
The first artists on our label were the first artists that we worked with. Well, we were doing a lot of different things. We did a lot of records out, but we were working with artists like Jesse James. We did the New York Knicks scene, New York Go. Then we had a lot of people in our studio from Kurtis Blow, Jam Master J. And then a little later on, we worked with Kane.
Hey, Al, what was that last part you cut out a little bit?
I'm sorry. We worked with Kurtis Blow, Jam Master J from EMC.
Mm-hmm. Kurtis Blow, Jam Master J.
Yeah. And there was a lot of those guys coming from our studio. Yeah.
Oh.
That's really the beginning of our company.
Oh, okay. So who are some of the most recent artists that you all have signed to the label?
Our most recent label signings are, the MCBEE-X, the Creeptones, which is, the Creeptones are like a modern Beatles band, an alternative Beatles band. Shif-T, Seven. And those are some of the newer artists that we're working with right now. We work with Steve Johnson, which is a top blues cat. He was Guitar Magazine's ultimate guitar player. He won that award, so he's like a killer blues guitar player.
Ah.
And then we work with Trio Caliente.
Oh, okay.
We can keep going.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of artists on the label.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what is your process for scouting new talent for the label?
I need one to get on the scouting level. Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Eve, you cut out a little bit.
I usually give the old 3-second rule that if it doesn't hit me in 3 seconds or less, it doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, so if the song doesn't hit you in 3 seconds, it's a no-go, huh?
Pretty much, yeah, that's usually been my rule, yeah.
Ah, so do you do each song? I mean, like, say for instance, like if they have more than one track, if the first track that's presented to you just doesn't hit you in 3 seconds, you're not moving on to the rest of the CD, are you? It's just pretty much that's it.
Pretty much. I generally, if there's anything that's intriguing, even ever so remotely, within the first 3 seconds of the first track, then I may very quickly listen to the next track for maybe, I'll listen a second. If something affects my ear within that second, I may go to the next track, and so on and so forth. But if it doesn't, then, it's usually pretty much dead in the water. I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to auditioning new acts and new music and its production. And lyric content only appeals to me if it's something that I'm looking specifically for.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the person has a very strong track record with a lot of stats. That'll be the other exception to the rule. Usually that is the first and foremost process, and then secondary to that, when I'm just perusing and looking, it falls under the 3-second rule.
Ah, so you mostly sign artists from them submitting music, or do you guys also happen to catch someone playing live and say, oh, I like this actor? How do you?
Yeah, once in a while, if I happen to see somebody that really blows me away live, then I'll approach them, or I'll do my little research and find out if they're signed, and if they're not, then I'll approach them myself, and I'll pick their brain a little bit, and then at that level, it depends on whether I'm really blown away or not. But if I'm not, then I need to get get a lot of information that may qualify them, such as what are their stats? You know, what kind of numbers do they have, either in sales or, you know, in performances at different venues? How many people do they bring in? You know, what kind of credibility do they have generally, typically, recently, press, media? Who are some of the artists that they have worked with recently, currently? You know, those are some of the criteria that I subject people to really when I'm out there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now, have you all had to drop any artists from the label in recent history?
We don't really say that we drop them as far as you know, discontinue their contracts, but we definitely have shelved people.
Oh, okay.
Not
What?
a good word. Strike that word, shelf. Why?
Shelved.
Yeah, I would strike that word. That's not a good word.
Why?
I don't think that's a good word to blast. I would say what happens with a lot of the bands that are no longer performing, they stay in our licensing catalog, because we do a lot of music for TV and film.
Ah. So.
They just won't get heavily, you know, promoted regards to, you know, if there's a problem, if there's a personal issue, we just kind of tend to allow them to take a more conservative back seat.
Ah, okay. Kind of like just they're kind of in the refrigerator for a while, huh?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not out yet in the freezer section, but they're chilling a bit.
Yeah.
But you never know with any band that's been with us, in regards to getting the licensing and stuff like that. They could be an old band, but they could still get you know, placements frequently in the present.
Oh yeah. Okay. So are you all currently looking for new artists for ACM Records?
Well, we're always looking for something that's unique and appealing and vibrant and exceptional to the rule. You know, with good stats generally, first and foremost. Unless for, you know, one of the other departments that we run, you know, they do charge fees to represent the artist, like a lot of people do nowadays. But you know, generally by and large, when we look, we're looking for statistics.
Okay. So let me ask you, have y'all had an artist who had okay, which is kind of more of a priority when selecting? I know this is kind of an off the cuff question, but like say for instance, there's an artist who may need some grooming, but they have nice stats, they have a nice fan base, but their music is just not really up your alley. But they would you sign them? Or how about an artist who had excellent music? Their music was just top notch. It's like, oh, this is something new, different, but they just didn't necessarily have the fan base. Which act would you go after?
Probably the first. You know, if they have stats, it's a business. At first, that takes precedence. And I know I don't have to work. You know, the company's resources don't have to work so hard. Clearly. Secondary, if the artist is really good and I like their attitude and I like their, you know, if they possess a lot of certain criteria, you know, humility, professionalism, reliability, loyalty, all that kind of stuff, you know, and they've got a little bit of a buzz going on, you know, we certainly not exclude them for sure.
Ah. Okay, so has there ever been a situation in the past where you took an artist that did have the stats, but the music just wasn't, and you kind of polished them up a little?
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Oh, okay. Would you like to name any of those artists, or?
Well, we definitely took when we signed the Creeptones, the artist of the band that won the you know, our battle of the bands, giving students a chance. We definitely took them and had to groom them in the studio for their first single release. Give them top-notch, worthiness, if you will, a standard. They were a little rough at the edges, and certainly another artist, her name is Liana. She's a dance artist out of the UK, and presently there's an artist named Ben, USA. He's in the US right now, although he's from the UK. He's an electronic artist. We're taking him. We're doing some songs with some producers of name, and we're doing some remixes and some cleanups and fixing them up a little bit, giving them a synthetic loop job rather than a regular loop job.
Oh yeah. So let me ask, what's the hardest part about running an independent record label?
Making money in this market, man. Yeah, it's tough.
And then keeping your integrity. Being a small company, I would say small, don't use it, an independent company, is just, really still doing it for good music's sake.
But really, it's about making the brand, man. And it's like, you got to figure out how do you keep the synthetic oil in the wheels instead of the regular. That's the basic bottom line. It's a living, getting higher as the nut gets bigger and as the artists get more, and as the expectation in the market changes, you got a lot of change occurring in the marketplace right now. People just aren't doing what they used to do. So you got to figure out, how do I still get my fan loyalty and keep my stats growing in this current marketplace? It's a challenge.
Oh yeah.
And he likes to work internationally. He seeks and works with bands from all over the world, which will include like X Glitter from Sweden, Warchild. Warchild's another one of our hip hop artists, great hip hop artist from Sierra Leone. Yeah, you got to check out Warchild. He'll be the next one. We'll be sending you some stuff for.
Definitely.
Stuff from the UK. Say an international. Tell them some of the other international. And then we have Bolot, Bolot. Bolot. And then where are they from?
The Elation Mountains. That's the border of Russia and, where is it? Up in the Elation somewhere, near Russia, up in the mountains somewhere in Russia, way out there.
Another group is Forever Green from Russia. So she has quite a few acts.
We have an act from Bulgaria. She sings this yodeling stuff, man. She's pretty wild. She sings in Bulgarian language and it's old folk music.
Her name is Ivanka. Ivank.
Okay. Now, is it a lot easier to work with the international artists than it is some of the American artists, or?
Well, international artists still, again, come to us because of our credibility and our longevity, but they also come to us because, they expect slam dunk no-brainer, whatever that means,
Yeah.
So they're coming to us with stats, without stats, with money, without money. They're coming to us in all configurations from the globe because of our credibility and longevity, still expecting the same thing, but just have a different way of expressing it, may not be as greedy, for example, as the American artist, I like to say, in some instance, because Americans are spoiled in a lot of ways. But at the same time, Americans are also be humbled if you give them a new approach at getting their message out. Whereas with the foreigners, they're not so humble if they're good and they come in with stats. They have an attitude because their countries are smaller than ours. Yeah. So if they come in with a claim, then they expect instant standards fairly quickly versus the American artists who they come in with, some stats, but less standards because they understand the marketplace is highly competitive here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely understand because I know a lot of artists. I guess those artists in some of the foreign countries, like you say, they're big where they're at, but then you put them over in America, they have to grow.
Yeah, they have. Just they say if you make it in Europe, then you can come here and you can catch a blaze a little bit, a little quicker. But if you make it here and you go there, you're almost an overnight sensation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As long as you have the resources to push the act wherever they may be, and then even having the resources isn't enough. It's how do you represent that artist in the best possible light in the current market, in the current demographic that you're appealing to.
Let me.
A lot of attributes of working with artists these days. They come in all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm. Is there any particular country that you mine for gold at, or that has the most talent seem to come from there or something? Any particular country?
No, I mean it really depends on the genre. I mean, if I wanted hardcore rock, I know I would go either to Iceland or I would go to Germany, for instance. If I want heavy hip hop music, I mean I'm right where it's at. Right here in the good old U.S. of A.
Yeah.
If I want country, I don't have to necessarily go to Nashville in the United States. I can go to Arkansas or Minnesota.
So you have Angel Ruiz is from Spain.
Well, he's not really country. He's more bluegrass. But this dude is like Spanish that doesn't even speak English, and he has played with the biggest, bluegrass cast in the United States of America, and he's like one of the biggest banjo players that, is awesome. This guy is unbelievable.
Oh, I bet.
Angel Ruiz.
Yeah, he's really good. He gets a lot of attention on ACM. Then we got an Irish dude from,
Jim Morris.
he's actually Scottish, I'm sorry, but he does Irish classic standards and Celtic music. And he sees a lot of attention because he lives in Texas. And in Texas, there seem to be a lot of diehard Irish and Scottish folks that love that old, slapping on your leg, whiskey drinking, hillbilly kind of Irishy sounding classic accordion music.
Yeah.
He makes really good money. So you just never know what's going to hit, and you never know where the artist is going to come from, and you just don't know what's going to work.